Welcome, ladies and gents, to a listed top 10. Today we will be counting down the top 10 movies from 2020 so far. Some of the movies in this list were released at the very end of 2019, but due to the current pandemic stemming the natural flow of movie releases, we thought it was fair. Now, without wasting any more time, let's get down to business. In at number 10, we have First Cow. First Cow is a drama film directed by Kelly Reichardt from a screenplay by Reichardt and Jonathan Raymond based on Raymond's novel The Half-Life and stars John Magaro. In the 19th century, a cook travels with fur trappers to the Oregon Territory. He connects with a Chinese immigrant and they start a business with the surreptitious use of milking cow owned by a wealthy landowner. The film had its world premiere at the Telluride Film Festival on August 30th, 2019, and was also selected to compete for the Golden Bear in the main competition section of the 70th Berlin International Film Festival. It was theatrically released in the United States on March 6th. In at number 9, we have Bad Education. Bad Education is a comedy drama directed by Corey Finley and written by Mike Wachowski. The film is based on a true story of the largest public school embezzlement in American history. It was adapted from an article in New York Magazine by Robert Kolker. It features an ensemble cast including the lights of Hugh Jackman and Allison Janney. The film is set in the Long Island village of Roslyn during the early 2000s. It tells the story of a charismatic and esteemed Dr. Frank Tassone and Pam Gluckin, who steals millions of dollars from the same public school district that they speak to make the best in the country. The screenwriter, Wachowski, briefly met Tassone as a child before the scandal broke and attended Roslyn High School in the late 2000s. Bad Education made its premiere at the end of 2019 at the Toronto International Film Festival and was broadcast on HBO on April 25, 2020, and was well received by film critics, with particular praise for Wachowski's screenplay and the performance of Jackman. In at number 8, we have The Way Back. The Way Back, also known as Finding the Way Back in some markets, is an American sports drama film directed by Gavin O'Connor and written by Brad Inglesby. It stars Ben Affleck and follows an alcoholic construction worker who is recruited to become head coach of the basketball team at the high school he used to attend. The film was theatrically released in the United States on March 6, 2020 by Warner Bros. Pictures. The film went under the radar, however, received positive reviews from critics with Affleck's performance receiving praise. In at number 7, we have The Call of the Wild. Call of the Wild is an American adventure film based on the Jack London 1903 novel of the same name. Directed by Chris Sanders, in his live-action directorial debut, the film stars Harrison Ford. Set during the 1890s Klondike Gold Rush, the film follows a dog named Buck as he is stolen from his home in California and then sent to the Yukon, where he befriends an old outdoorsman and begins a life-altering adventure. Released in February 21st, it received mixed reviews from critics, who praised Ford's performance and the entertaining action of the earnest tone, but criticized the uncanny CGI of the animals. It was a box office bomb, grossing at $107 million across the budget of $125 to $150 million, and lost the studio an estimated $50 to $100 million. And in at number 6, we have The Invisible Man. The Invisible Man is a science fiction horror film written and directed by Leigh Whannell. It follows a woman who believes she is being stalked by her abusive and wealthy boyfriend, even after his apparent suicide. She ultimately deduces that he acquired the ability to become invisible. The film stars Elizabeth Moss and Aldous Hodge. Released in the US on February 28th, the film received unexpectedly positive reviews from critics, with praises for Moss's performance. Its inventive modernization of the novel's plot and a combination of scares, with a smart narrative about how people can be manipulated and abused in harmful relationships, the film grossed $128 million worldwide against a $7 million budget and is currently the 5th highest grossing film of 2020. In at number 5, we have Dolittle. Dolittle also referred to as The Voyage of Dr. Dolittle, is an American fantasy comedy adventure film directed by Stephen Goggin, from a screenplay by Goggin, Dan Gregor, and Doug Mand, based on a story by Thomas Shepard. A reboot of the original Dr. Dolittle film and its modern comedy counterparts, the film is based on the titular character created by Hugh Lofting and is primarily inspired by the author's second Dr. Dolittle book, The Voyages of Dr. Dolittle. Robert Downey Jr. stars as the title character alongside Antonio Banderas and Michael Sheen in live-action roles. Released on January 17, 2020, it received generally underwhelming reviews from critics, who criticized its screenplay, plot, humor, and visuals. The film grossed $223 million worldwide and was a box office bomb, with Universal expected to have lost $100 million. And in at number 4, we have Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic the Hedgehog is an action-adventure comedy film based on the video game franchise published by Sega. The film is directed by Jeff Fowler in his feature directorial debut, and written by Pat Casey and Josh Miller. It stars Ben Schwartz as the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog and Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik. In the film, Sonic teams up with a local town sheriff, Tom Wachowski, to find his lost rings and escape Dr. Robotnik. Sonic the Hedgehog premiered at the Paramount Theater on January 25th and was theatrically released in the United States on February 14th, 2020. Critics praised the performances, Sonic's design, and its faithfulness to the source material, but criticized its plot for a perceived lack of originality. The film set the record for the biggest opening weekend for a video game film in the United States and Canada. It grossed $306 million worldwide, becoming the second highest grossing film of 2020, and the highest grossing video game film adaptation of all time in North America. A sequel was announced on May 28, 2020. Kicking off our top 3, we have Birds of Prey. Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn is a superhero film based on the DC Comics team Birds of Prey, and is the 8th installment in the DC Extended Universe, and a follow-up to Suicide Squad. It was directed by Kathy Yan and stars Margot Robbie. The film follows Harley Quinn as she joins forces with Helena Bertinelli, Dinah Lance, and Renee Montoya to save Cassandra Cain from Gotham City crime lord Black Mask. Birds of Prey is the second of DC's films to be R-rated. The film had its world premiere on January 25th. It grossed $201 million worldwide, making it the 4th highest grossing film of 2020. The film received praise from critics for its visual style, Yan's direction, and Robbie's performance, but criticism for Hudson's screenplay. Our runner-up for today's top 10, in at number 2 we have The Gentleman. The Gentleman is an action comedy film written, directed, and produced by Guy Ritchie. The film has a star-studded cast, including the likes of Matthew McConaughey, Charlie Hunnam, Jeremy Strong, Colin Farrell, Hugh Grant, and more. It follows an American marijuana kingpin in England who is looking to sell his business, setting off a chain of blackmail and schemes to undermine him. The Gentleman premiered on December 3rd, 2019, and wasn't released theatrically in the UK and the US until January 2020. It received generally positive reviews from critics, who praised its direction, acting, and script, with many regarding it as a welcome return to the form for Ritchie. It grossed $115 million worldwide and is currently the 6th highest grossing film of 2020. Last but not least, our top spot for today's top 10 movies in 2020 so far. Our number 1 position goes to Bad Boys for Life. Bad Boys for Life is an action comedy film directed by Adil and Bilal. The sequel to Bad Boys 2, it is the 3rd installment in the Bad Boys trilogy. The film stars Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. Smith co-produced the film with Jerry Bruckheimer and Doug Belgrad. In Bad Boys for Life, Miami detectives Mike Lowry and Marcus Burnett investigate a string of murders tied to Lowry's troubled past. Bad Boys for Life was released on January 17th. The film received mostly positive reviews from critics and has grossed $419 million worldwide, currently making it the highest grossing film of 2020. It also has the highest grossing installment of the series and the biggest January release of all time. And that concludes our list for the top 10 movies of 2020 so far. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. And if you really enjoyed the video, hit that subscribe button. Keep your eyes and ears open for our next top 10 video, but until then, stay safe.